It is time. And Richard, Stockton, what'd I tell you? Where are you? 101 German Canteen. Good. Congratulations. Where'd you get that? You didn't find that prospect.
He doesn't know.
You don't know where you got it? Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. It is June 15th, 2023. And tonight we're going to celebrate the 120th anniversary of our train station, right here, the building we're sitting in. I've always said that just about every community has a signature building that that community is identified by. And when it comes to Farmville, I believe the Rotunda is our signature building. When you see that, you know you're talking about Farmville. But a close second is probably going to be the building that we're standing in right here, because it had an effect on just about every Farmvillian's life through the years. Kirk, how you doing? Come on in, sir. Glad to have you. Yes, sir. Somebody else need a ticket? Kirk's going to need one. All right. Why don't we begin tonight by first showing our respect to the country? Do we have an American flag? Thank goodness. If you can stand, it will do the pledge of allegiance. So I have our veterans who will lead this. How about you, Richard? You don't know it? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I want to recognize tonight the company. We do have our mayor is here tonight, Brian Vincent, right there in the back. Give him a big hand. I also want to recognize some members of the Carter family here. There's Earl and Beth. Any other Carters with us tonight?
That's it.
Okay. They're here to represent, came with the Wilsons and all. Deep history within this station. We're glad to have you here. Thanks so much. Let's go. Folks, it's about 80 slides. I want to move through them as quick as we can, because I know the important thing is getting carried. Tonight I want to do this also in memory of Mary Alice Wilson Thompson and her family. BB, she was known as. She was in the Historical Society, and I remember her well. This was her dad right here, Mr. Wilson.
Her husband.
Her husband, actually, that's her husband.
Her dad.
Yeah, that's what I said. That's her dad. That's her dad.
Yes.
Okay. Next week. All aboard. The North and Western passenger trains that passed through Farmville in the 1950s, which are. Isn't that beautiful? All that black and white has been colorized, looks like. Good job, Jimmy. Jimmy's been colorizing old black and white photos. He got some software to do that. The one thing we may end up doing is taking this Willis Vale slides from High Bridge being built, colorize them, and we'll have a whole new program. Please. The map overlooking the town, you can see where the old freight station was here. This was the original train station for Farmville. The South Side Railroad. Built what used to be the Red Line in town. I'm sure most of you will remember that. And that station is the reason. Here it is. This station right here is the reason that we have this station. Why do you say that? Well, originally the Farmville train station was this building. Can everybody place where that is now? Yeah, well, we are. Okay. Walkers down there would be just to the left of it. This was built for the South Side Railroad. That's 4 separate words if you ever write it down. I see it written as 2 words and 3 words, and I've even made the same mistake of writing it as 2 words and 3 words, even within the same paragraph. Just subconscious and regular. But in their documents and their stock certificates, it's always South Side Railroad. 4 separate words. I looked for that. The problem with this was that when the train stopped, it blocked Main Street for long periods of time. So you can imagine this was becoming quite a nuisance. Next.
There were no cars when the station was built.
What do you mean?
No.
No automobiles? Right, no automobiles, it's just railroad, 1853 when that thing was built, so it's just a railroad. There were those. Then right across the street from it was the old passenger depot. Excuse me, the freight depot, I'm sorry. Okay, this is an example of things that were shipped out of Farmville. This particular car, I had this postcard though, in fact, says this carload is loaded with lettuce at Farmville, Virginia. Right here would have been W.W. Jackson. He was the guy who lived over the Bazaar place, just in the Cumberland across the river. But this was trying to get us to do more than just tobacco here, but to ship other products. Go ahead, Jim. All right, 1902. I've only seen this once, so I'm kind of waiting here.
Totally unrehearsed.
Totally unrehearsed. And this is when they're talking about the depot needs to be replaced. Next. January 10, 1902. This was all on those old JC calendars, if you remember those. There's the picture. Dates. Depot shop, 1906. See the co-op building back there. Irish Waltz now. 3rd Street side.
Bathrooms were right there.
Good,
Inner cognac side.
Let's go one more, Jimmy. There we go. That's just like right across the street there. These houses, the house that you see up there.
3rd Street would have come along right over here.
So what ended up happening to get this train station was, in the late 1890s, W.P. Venable, Venable cashier or assistant cashier at that time, had the plan to say, he circulated a petition around to the local businessmen asking for the N&W to build a new station because of the inconvenience people were suffering at the old station. So in 1902, about March 1902, I think it is the superintendent of the N&W Railway comes to Farmville, tours around with local officials, and announces that the N&W will build a new station. And it decided that this would have to be, this was the only suitable location for it to be built. It was known as the Davis Lot. There were some consequences for the Farmville taxpayer. First off, it was the only suitable lot. First consequence, 3rd Street only went 2 blocks from Main Street and ended. So the taxpayer had to pay for an extension of 3rd Street to get here to the depot. And it dead-ended, 3rd Street dead-ended, right here at the depot for many years, till about 1939, when they built what we have out here now. And the biggest consequence, which was a good thing, one of the stipulations for the N&W to build this railroad depot here was it had to have electricity 24 hours. At the time, the Farmville electric plant only ran from like 6 o'clock in the morning till 10 at night. It was lights off. But the railroad, this is such a hub of activity, 24 hours a day. They wanted electricity full time. And that's what brought about Farmville getting electricity 24 hours a day. This building that we're in right now. Now the view, you can see the water tank there to the right.
There was another one further down the track.
I thought so. I thought it was on the other side.
Down by the bridge.
Yeah, that's right. Down my bridge, that was on the left side too. It's from a postcard. See up 3rd Street right here. All this had to be constructed, and then it dead ended like this.
I really understand.
And people probably read posters and things that were plastered up on the signs there, or the fence around. Next. Also in 1906, one of the red caption versions of the postcard. Now, there is another station just like this in Virginia, Christiansburg. But where are the other ones? Abingdon?
Christiansburg, Abingdon, that one down in Tidewater. Gotta go.
Okay. So there's other stations in Virginia like that.
They were all built basically on the same blueprints. And the Historical Society has the blueprints of this place.
Did we get it the long one?
Yes,
All right, 1917, World War I was a big deal. My boys shipped out of here, out of the station. A lot of them never came back. Well, some of them. Yeah, that looks like, what, about 1970?
Billy Bruce is so bad.
August of 1902, a fellow in Lynchburg by the name of J.P. Pettijohn, he got the contract to build this station for $33,000 cost to build it. And then it opened on April 30th, 1903, when this station opened.
I think the Buffalo Shook was built in 39, if I'm not mistaken.
Any of you railroad buffs, if you recognize some of these engines, call them out.
Yes, sir.
That one? Well, F-111. Railway Express operated in the building, also, get your goods shipped to you. And this was the last agent we had here.
I don't know that he was.
Anybody recognize this fellow?
That would have been where the kitchen is now.
Baggage carts, great accessory, Railway Express Agency, truck. And this vehicle would ride around town and deliver things, like of course the famous 611 keeps rolling. There it is again, right at the station. Can you imagine, that thing is just huge. And it really gets the train enthusiast blood just going and going. And this is when the general came to town. This was May 28, 1963, when he crossed the High Bridge camera artist. Warren Nelson took that famous iconic image of it crossing the steel bridge. And then it parked up here by the shoe factory on the siding. It towed a car behind it. It was kind of like a gift shop and a little museum to it. So they parked here, at least I think for the day. And it was a Louisville National train, and they toured the South during the Centennial.
Is that the name of the train? It's General? or-
The General, that was the name of the train, yes, ma'am.
I don't know if that's it or not.
No, that's that's Politan era there. Well, folks, no, I think, Joe, that's a little early. I think it's in the 20s, actually. So, complicated with the magazine. Circus train, that's how it got around, on the train. So you can imagine when they pulled into town, quite an object of excitement and curiosity. Next. This is like 1906 in Farmville, real postcard. When the circus came to town, the general unloaded and they would have a parade in town to kind of advertise the circus. So the zero is elements. That is. So this would be the Visual Arts Center right here. Probably taken right out of the window above the store. Train serves the farm carried many local servicemen and women during wartime. Absolutely. Farmville Garden. Now the Pocahontas. Very famous train. Meals on wheels. People had meals on the train. Those were the days, weren't they? What days? Yeah, that was fun. Train travel was luxury on the end and nose. Some of our quarters. This was the main form of transportation for our young ladies. As long as we could get here, Friday afternoons would be packed with them, loaded up to go home, and Sunday afternoon they're all coming back. Did you hear that?
No.
Joe says that the girls, once they crossed High Bridge, that was realization they're getting close to town, and they would start putting their hat and gloves on there. All right, now I got a repair project started on.
We don't have a date on that,
But they spent $20,000 on some repairs.
dropping the bucket today.
Oh boy. And 1971 was the last run of the Pocahontas. Saturday.
A lot of people came down here and got on it and drove from Farmville to wherever they got on.
I remember the third grade at the academy we rode it. I think the first one was back.
I rode it in Cub Scouts.
There's Mr. Wilson right worked there. He was a station master here for over 50 years. How many exactly? 60 years. Can you imagine that? I couldn't do it.
This house there in the picture used to be where that tan building is now.
But it was moved next door.
And Robert Taylor moved it up a notch.
Right. Is that right, Earl? It's you. I got to defer to Beth.
That is correct.
So there you have it, next to where the immigration center was, it used to be a bus station. And it was the first 24-hour restaurant, or a 24-hour restaurant that was in there.
And the fire still.
Yeah, then came Newcomb, or Boston, I think. Fisher. There's Mr. Wilson again. Mr. Railroad, Ralph Wilson, when he's retired.
When he started, and he ended here. 1912, he began his career with Norfolk and Western. Retired in 1973. He lived right there in that gray house with bluish house you can see through the window there. So he was right here, right on top of it all the time. And there he is again, close up. This was when he was retiring. That picture is from his retirement from Earl to 73.
And his wife was known for her ham biscuits.
Excellent, excellent. There's the watch.
Yes, telegraph case. Yeah. And there's his car and his wife. That was taken in 1954. I remember when they had that car. They didn't have car to drive.
Pass it on down, there you go. Okay, so we got the paint here in 1976. That's good. Stephen L. Farrer. Does anybody remember Stephen L. Farrer? Well, can you?
In a meal gift of Steve Farrell.
Okay, is the same guy you reckon, maybe? What do you think, Richard? What do you know about it?
He was the station master when we first moved here. We always bought our tickets from him, and he's the one who told us that if we got on the Mountaineer going east at 10 o'clock in the morning and went to Crew and got off, we would have 2 hours for a picnic, and we could get on the westbound one and come back again. We go over High Bridge twice. We did that with the kids several times.
Yeah, copy.
You know it's been painted there or not.
Yeah,
It'll come up on another slide. Little guy there.
there's the Hilltopper. That's service stop.
Hilltopper, not the Mountaineer, sorry.
Amtrak, no. Holy cow.
And another old picture there. That's an old picture there.
Yeah.
Steamboat.
75.
Started running again.
Down here. Well, we're trying everything to save the railroad at that time, back in the 70s.
Tom Fitzgerald, last station master for closing the station, his relatives offering the phone.
Let come up and tell us about his.
Come on up.
Wearing suspenders, so the pants falling in one look.
That's the time to look.
Tell them where you are, Gus.
I'm Doug Fitzgerald. My whole family were railroaders. Oh, question. And that's my uncle. That's my Uncle Bones. He was a poet. He didn't marry until very late in life. He married a woman. There was a train stop in Brookville. He would stay at her hotel. And he got married a lady. Had a real good life. He was a good guy.
Now, was he known as Bumps?
Boss. Yeah.
Bumps.
Yeah.
No, I just have to ask, how did that name come about?
I I'm not sure. I asked him one time, and he jokingly said that he had a lot of brothers that beat him up. But he was a Golden Gloves champion. Twice.
All right.
And he was
So he learned,
he learned to fight back. Yeah. But the reason he closed down all these stations was his brother, and I don't have a picture of my father. His brother is Francis Bill Fitzgerald. It's not Junior, but there's another Francis Bill. I'll get to that in a minute. He was the chief dispatcher for the Innovator. His brother. So when they went to close everything down, Bumps told me that he always thought that was his brother was punishing him. Because they had this big argument over the property that they had. So he closed down just about every station along the line. And I love coming here because I like to go where they set to do the tickets and stuff. And I kind of feel like I'm with it. But, okay, that's it. Sorry about that, having a slide. I got another picture of Bumps. This is my mom and dad. And some of you probably know Christine Fitzgerald worked at the First National Bank. She was a White House lady and all that, and a force of nature. This is my father, Isaac Moon Fitzgerald. He was a brakeman on the Mississippi during the war.
When y'all came to the Sheffields, you came to the Sheffields?
No, but he,
How about the Smiths on
Yeah.
Railway Road?
yeah, I'm Ken Ball Smith. Gordon.
On Los Electric.
Gordon is my
I guess.
real close cousin. Buddy Smith, Sarah and Oracle, Winky Smith, Lorraine, Oscar. Just tons of Smith.
And Doug and I went to school together.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm also Ken Crawley, but if you use my name to Dickie, you'll probably raise the price. This is my grandfather, Francis Bill Fitzgerald. He was a station master at Farmville for a while. And I wish that Susan Hudson had contacted me a good while ago, and I meant to go down there and see what kind of records. Because my grandfather was a character. And y'all were talking about how the railroad worked. Well, my grandfather drank. If you know my Uncle George Fitzgerald, who ran Red Front Grocery, he was a butcher. Uncle George said one time, he said, your grandfather put me in the hospital and sobered me up and drank. Then he became a drunk himself. My grandfather could sit up there in the thing because he had plenty of hours. And they said he could actually feel the train coming way off before anybody could see it. And all of a sudden he'd just rev up and go do his thing. But I would love, while people are still alive and remember him, I'd love to find out stories about him before he appeared there. But this is him, this is when he was young. And he was very straight, tall. My sister's son looks a lot like him. And you may know my sister, Annette Fitzgerald. And she married Debbie J. Foley. I'm related to the Foleys. Is anybody here not related?
Are you related to Susan Hudson?
No.
I ran into her recently, and she told me she was coming to me. I said, okay.
I've done a genealogy on the Fitzgerald family. My grandmother was Scottish. She came over from Scotland in 1890 with her whole family. And she met my grandfather. They were married.
You would be into Bill Rick.
Bill, that's interesting. My Uncle George, great Uncle George, married Annie Rick. And we call ourselves cousins. I haven't seen Barbara in years, but Bill, there's something about anybody's connected to the family. They get kind of wild and strange and fun. You know Gordon, it's a perfect man.
That young person, look out.
Got a bookies, I'm show you
Oh,
those.
sorry. That's all right. I have two of these. I'm gonna give Gordon one for the railroad employees. This is the official guide. It's all the railways. And this was dated February of 1970. It's really the farm stations in here, and it gives freight rates, the schedule of the trains and all that stuff. Thanks, Doug. Yeah, thank you.
There he is, Thomas E. Phelps. Good work. And there's Steve Farrer again, writing the last ticket sold for Thomas McCollum. Did he end up coming tonight?
No, he lives in Richmond though, but he does come to town sometimes. But he bought, that picture was taken out of that, right back there, that picture.
Alright, so he made it.
His father worked along with him. That's right. Okay.
All right, now the town accepts the N&W station.
This ticket won't get me on
Oh,
a train.
Let's see. I don't want to upset anybody, so, why not? I don't know, the railroad wanted to get rid of it. And, we didn't. Why do we want to get rid of our train station? Ended up being, I think, Amy Castleberry and Beverly Klein, Railroad. Beverly Castleberry, Betty Green's sister. Yeah. They kind of like this movement to save the train station, and it worked. I got people really going to save our station. But we were told we were going to put up a trailer park for railroad employees, all kinds of horrible things. But because of their efforts, we still have our station.
We have the names right there.
There we go. And it's not in Castleberry. Beverly. The deed, they're handed over, said, good riddance, your problem now. There's,
I'll read off who was here.
let's see, we received a key from Bruce Wingo, is Mayor J. David Creek, President also Watt Abbott, who intervened with the railroad on behalf of Farmville, and other friends of the station. Farmville now owns the depot and leases the land. If the lease is terminated, the town would pay to have the building moved. Officials don't expect the lease to be terminated.
Love that picture there.
Counter granting. There we are.
And they put the fence up, somebody put that fence up somewhere along the way.
Then the town renovated it and put it to use. Good deal. Still serving the citizens of Farmville. Great.
Well, there was a bit of a ruckus about some people in the town council and stuff wanted to move the town office here, and Daddy was dead set against that. He said town office needs to stay on Main Street, and we need to use this as a venue. And that was one of the few times I ever saw him get into a heated argument with members, with Jerry or members of the town council. Usually Daddy was more of a person of persuasion versus getting into an argument. he got into a bit of an argument over that.
We
which
get
he won.
emotional.
Which he won.
Good deal. All right. Let's look at the renovation.
Took a while, we got it fixed up nice.
Oh, okay, now, 1979. That's a red letter set. October 11th, 1979. There are three famous things that happened in Farmville history on October 11th. October 11, 1900, the Confederate monument was unveiled. October 11, 1918, Wilshire Davis received the Croix de Guerre for bravery exhibited in World War I, one of our local boys. And in October 11, 1975, 79, excuse me, they made a Pepsi commercial here. And I remember being in my college dormitory, seeing it with my roommates and suite mates, and I said, you know, that's where I live. That's where I live. And they just, yeah, you can go on YouTube. We're going to see it right now. Here shortly.
That's when they painted
The cuppy feet and
the cutting
seat.
thing up there.
And we'll have a picture of that coming.
Anybody here?
Was anybody here in that? Dr. Scott was? Dolly, you were in it?
My children, some of the kids went there.
Okay.
I was in
You were in it. What's your name again, sir?
eighth grade.
Dave? Okay. Good to see you. Come on in there.
All right, thank you.
And Dave, you want to tell us about the day that you were here and they were filming?
Well, it really, a bunch of, you showed up, and I think it was 8 o'clock, and, you know, dressed in, they put out a call about what they want people to dress like, and it was either kind of a farm work or more like a Western, actually. I wore a cowboy hat, which I never wear. And so then they picked a bunch of people out to be extras and stuff like that. And they have this guy who was supposed to be a local baseball playing star, who comes in on the train, and they painted, like I said, the shack up there and painted everything around. It was supposed to be hometown crowd welcoming people in town. There were a few people were picked to be close-ups of. I don't know if y'all remember Philip Gay. It was the fire department. He was picked. He was directing the band, and a few other people were picked for close-ups. You know, and then this train comes in, and I really don't remember if the train actually moved, or if it just didn't. Made it look like it moved. And this guy gets off, and you know, they have a big, you know, hoo-ha and stuff like that. But it was a lot of fun, and everybody who was an extra got paid, well, I remember $50, which back in '79 was not insignificant. Not insignificant now. But, and I think the people who got close-ups got a bit more money. But, it was, actually went on 2 days. And it was just a lot of fun. So I came down and I took a day off of college to come down and do it.
Scott, what do you remember about it?
Well, a lot of the young people were really excited about it. I think mainly because of baseball connection. A good crowd was turned out. I think they had trouble. But then one of the police officers, they had their hands full trying to keep people interfering with the train coming in on an accident.
All right. It's a big deal.
My uncle was in this band that they was talking about.
Okay.
I think what they did is they took the fire department, he was in the fire department, and they made him the band.
Yeah, that seems to ring a bell, yeah.
Yeah, his fellow guy was the fire chief.
See what we got next. Yes,
There's
it's a
a
shame.
company, Grain and Feed. And that stayed there for a long time, too.
I heard that the train had to back up and pull up several times.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
And evidently they got up on the train and took some of the shots, it looks like. I wasn't here that day. But also was told they painted that train and sent it down here from Roanoke.
November of 1979, it was on the cover of the North and Western magazine right there. And ended up calling pictures to a story included inside. It was really neat.
4 or 5 pages.
I've had about a half a dozen of them over the years.
There's a close-up of some of the people.
Anybody recognize these people? I remember this guy and this guy were brothers. I think they were Normans over in Colma. Kip Norman or something.
These little children here would now be in their 50s, right? 46 years ago. It'd be close to 50.
Huh?
There's the aide actor.
He was like the dad, the hero baseball guy was coming home. He's like his dad, his mom, and I think that's supposed to be his little brother.
We're going to watch the 2 commercials in just a second, but I read up on it, and they actually went to, I believe, 14 different towns and filmed. Then they spliced some of the filming together to make multiple different commercials, which played nationwide. And you'll notice that the Farmville film is also spliced with some other town where they filmed the baseball part of the commercial. So the baseball scenes are not filmed here in Farmville. But from time to time, I found on YouTube some of the other commercials, and they had clips of Farmville in them. So, yeah, I guess they took it all back wherever and edited it like they wanted it. It went on for about 2 years on national TV.
Was the baseball player really a baseball player, or it was just an actor?
I think it's just an actor.
Yeah, but I think some of the local Little League boys were
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
Last time we did this 10 years ago, we had some of the actual players come here and speak. Let's see what else we got. That's
There's Phil Jackson.
Louis Spurlock over the white.
They got Stuart Gosling.
Stuart Gosling.
And I think
Here.
Billy Johnson.
there he is
Bill
right there.
Covington in the middle.
That's Barbara Covington.
Mayor,
I'll told.
Dr.
Godsey, Shoemaker.
Harrison Shoemaker, yeah, and Jerry Spade. Well,
That's one of the more,
And they're all fine.
that's one of the pictures you saw a lot of. Let's see, here's the commercials.
here's our guy coming home. So that's the 32nd.
You got any Pepsi?
Advertising, it works.
We have Pepsi's drink tonight, and there's Pepsi over here for our door prize.
We learn all that.
10 years ago, we got donated Pepsi. I don't have any connections anymore. Let's see, I think this is going to be done.
Here's the 62nd.
It's the smiling, shining feeling, the light of a brand new day. And you're the Pepsi generation, you're the spirit of today. There's a feeling deep inside you, a spirit you just can't hide. And with every taste of life that's new, well, the Pepsi spirit shines right through. It's that Pepsi spirit.
funny when I've seen some headline or something. I don't think I've had a Pepsi since then. Because I think I drank like 50 Pepsis in 2 days.
Did they have it there for everybody to drink for
Every
free?
time,
I mean, they had fountains, you just drink for free?
well, yeah, but you also had to be drinking them when they were shooting. And so I don't know how many I drank on camera. I'm so sick of drinking Pepsi. I don't remember having one since then. I forgot
He's gonna tell tell a little,
That little boy that you saw back there that had that great big smile that was kneeled down, I don't know who it was, but the production manager or whatever that was head of the filming crew gave that little boy $100 bill to give him that, and it just surprised him when it just reached over and gave him $100 bill, and that's how you got that smile on him.
Well, he didn't take it away after?
It's a shining, shining feeling, the sign of a brand new day. And you're the mercy generation, you're the spirit of today. There's a feeling deep inside you, the spirit you just can't hide. And whatever it takes to light that blue, well, that country spirit shines right through.
Y'all remember watching this on TV? Then you swole up with pride. That's where I live. They look at me and thought,
I always heard that Kipple of Flame was the one that drank the drink, guzzled it down, and he got paid royalty every time it was shown on TV for years.
get out of here.
That's what I heard.
No, so did Philip. Yeah, there was, I don't remember the kid, but I remember the full game. I think it was 3 people in town got royalties because they had close-ups and were on war. I didn't remember Skipper, but I know there were 3. I knew one of them.
I didn't realize that.
I think Kipple was standing right there by the door almost, and that's where they filmed him guzzling that. Let's see what's next. I took that picture the day after the filming was over and they cleaned up and everything was gone. I seen they took that picture. Who remembers the caboose? Part of this situation.
Over there. That's right. Derek's moved over to the plaza.
Karen over here asked me a while back what was the number on the caboose because they were going to paint it over again. Have they painted it yet?
Yeah, we haven't done it yet.
Okay, well, at least we know what the number is
Yeah,
now. And evidently it came to town somewhere, I don't know, and then they have to transport it over here to the train station. So how did it get forward to come up here on the rails?
You think?
I think so.
I have a picture of it, turning the corner then at 3rd and Main.
We were originally going to use it for the Chamber of Commerce office.
Yeah, that was a big deal when he moved. That's on YouTube.
Okay, so this was January when it actually got to Farmville, and February the 9th, it got over here to the train station.
There you go. There's the number, yeah.
Looks like a crane may have it up in the air, I'm not sure.
Yeah, wheel off the ground.
Yep. That's that.
Mayor, what did they decide to do with the caboose? What did they decide to do with the caboose?
What's happening with the caboose currently?
Yes.
Currently, Farmville Downtown Partnership is housed in the caboose.
Okay, cool.
So continuing to help with the Virginia Main Street program.
All right. July July 15, 2005, a day I never, ever thought we'd see. The train stopped coming. It was the last day it came through. Just on a local run, picking up pulpwood.
I've heard that several people videotaped it when it went through town, but I have never been able to get my hands on a copy of any of the videos. Anybody else sees a copy of it, or get a copy, I can transfer it over to CDs and give copies out.
So why did the railroad stop running?
Lack of business, I guess.
Lack of use.
Yeah.
Through Farmville.
The farmers co-op and Green Crop are using it before they shut down.
And they didn't want to put too many heavy loads on High Bridge.
Bingo, High Bridge.
That's what I heard.
It was basically mainly because of High Bridge, because the maintenance was just phenomenal on the thing, and it was in bad shape. And so what you had was this northern line that went from Farmville to Pamplin over High Bridge, and the High Bridge route. And in 1915, because the railroad realizes this High Bridge thing is not going to end up good, that's when they built the belt line down south between Farmville and Pamplin. So it was a kind of time thing, whereas you had full coal cars going the belt line east, and at the same time, empties would be coming over the north on the High Bridge. And then when they get to Farmville and Pamplin, they get back on the main lines. So they saw an opportunity when they were approached by the state to make a park out of it, and railroad was glad to get rid of it. Because even if you abandon it, you still have liability. Okay. So get rid of it, and it's no longer your liability. And so the state took it over and built High Bridge Trail, which I think has been very good for this community. But I just never thought that this would ever happen, that we would lose our railroad. We did. Well, we're going to remember. Yes, Doc.
Boy, Krell, it turns out the last train came through. One of the things that I remember, people would put pennies on the track of the train. I go back and think of a couple of the house somewhere else.
All right, next year.
Okay.
Ta-da. The last one? Okay. Next to last. All right, we'll have refreshments in the back room, birthday cake, homemade cookies, and strawberry cheesecake. But first, I think I neglected something. Mr. Olmsted, didn't you have something you wanted to present?
Yes, you had a program, I think your last program was about the Confederate Cemetery and the last campaign, the last battle over here. And there was a man that was selling a book back there.
Bob Driver.
Yeah, Robert Driver. That was Confederates of Prince Edward County and Deaths in Farmville Hospital, 1862 to 1865. So I figured I would buy a copy of that for the archives of the Historical Society.
Thank you very much, sir.
I brought you that one. And then prior to that, I had given a lecture about COVID-19, which we lost about 90 people in Prince Edward County from COVID-19. So I figured I would give a copy of this book, because now that's history for the moment, and I think that it's recent history, but in the archives we should have old history, ancient history, and new history both. And for Jimmy and Patricia, I got a bottle of selenium. Because I used to sell selenium in Africa to pharmacies in 5 countries. And it's the best thing that you can take if you're over 65, or if you're a woman almost any time. The selenium, one a day keeps the doctor away. I hope there are no doctors. But one a day keeps the doctor away. It's good for so many things. I hope you'll enjoy that.
Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Okay, I'd just like to say one thing. I hadn't seen this gentleman in 55 years, Doug Fitzgerald. Nancy and I used to rent his mama and daddy's basement apartment. And Doug and I used to get in trouble when we were teenagers. I haven't seen him in 55 years. And I was just sitting here thinking about some wonderful things I remember. When we rented over there, his mama, Christine, she had this big dog. I think he was like a Newfoundland or something. About a 600-pound dog. But never listened to Christine, and I could hear her out there now hollering, "JB! Come home, JB!" And then one other thing I remember about his daddy always tried to teach me something about gardening. So I had a little garden spot out back of the house, and his daddy was Moon. And Moon told me, he said, "Don't waste your time planting those butter beans." I said, "Why not?" He said, "All you're going to get is blooms. You're planting them on the wrong moon." And I said, "I never heard of such." Well, you know what? They never produced one butter bean, but I had the most beautiful flowers I ever had.
My name is Patty Cooper Jones. I rode the last train that came. We went to Burkeville, loaded the train. We were the last board of supervisors to come across the High Bridge Trail.
Yes, I was just curious as to, by the way, lovely turnout, people. I was just curious as to how many people here actually bought a ticket and rode that train that are in this station right now.
I mean, the last train
The
or?
last train on Independent Drive. Yeah.
Thought you knew it.
And I see, how many hands
Did
did
anybody?
you?
Anybody?
All right.
The last train.
I rode the last train.
How many just rode the train over the years?
Used to ride through, now you're in the city.
Right, it,
Yeah, I think that for my sister and I had two.
Hey, Bob,
Yes, Lord.
around 1915, when they built the Beltline, they bought and went right through the middle of my great-grandmother's house
Whoa.
at Appleton.
How's it going?
Yeah, it split the farm, and it's still split. We have land on each side of the track.
They didn't just move the house over?
Tore it down.
Or there?
Yeah,
They built a new house?
I don't know. I don't know where she went. She went somewhere.
Anybody else? Yes?
Yeah, this hasn't been mentioned, but before UPS and FedEx, and there's a fair amount of freight moved in and out of this town by the railroad. And my next door neighbor growing up, his name was James Crawley, out on Millwood Road. And he ran the freight department. I can't remember, it was called REA or something like that.
Railroad Express Agency.
Yeah. The REA, and he ran that agency here, and I started in business in 1972, and I can actually remember receiving freight through the REA, before FedEx and UPS.
Very good.
I think he worked there that far back.
He did.
And I remember he lived over on Fifth House, I guess.
Yeah, really nice guy.
And I think at one time the Maple used to come in Farmville.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yes, Betty?
my father-in-law bought a Sears house and picked it up at the train station.
Did you hear that?
No.
Father-in-law? Her father-in-law bought a Sears and Roebuck house. They had house kits. They would come in on the train.
He picked it up and built it in the place.
There's several of those here in
It's
town.
still standing.
I will be. What was number of it?
Yeah.
I will be. Richard, Mr. McClintock. Richard, you know a little bit about the Sears homes that are here in Farmville?
I know a little bit, yes.
How many do you think are here that you know
At least 20.
of? At least 20?
There are also Montgomery, there are at least 2 Montgomery Ward houses too.
I think the one on the corner of First Avenue Watkins, Green, I think Chuck told me that was a Sears kid house.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we did a program on it.
That's right.
Chuck Green's house, Sears house, and the house directly across the street from his house.
The one Van Holmes used to live in?
If not, it's the one next door, I'm not sure, I kind of got where exactly, right along there. And the house right up at the Longwood house where you go through the gate, that house right as you go through the gate on the right, that was on Montgomery. Yeah.
Farmville magazine had a feature article a few years ago, didn't they?
I think so, yeah. Jimmy did that. Anybody else have an experience or something you want to relate to us about the station? Yes?
I was fishing on one of the ponds here, and this John, older than I, was fishing beside. I introduced myself to him. It was Tommy Jenkins' father. And this man was killing it. I mean, I was throwing stuff in and catching nothing. Every time he threw the thing out, he pulled one. And there was a bunch of ducks out on this pond. And all of a sudden, Mr. Jenkins, hey, you see that duck? Yeah. Tommy bought those out of the silver up catalog. One other thing, sorry to do this, digress, but Jimmy asked me to tell you who I'm related to, and he haunted me for the rest of my life if I didn't tell you that. I married Cheryl Allen, my wife, for 53 years. She passed away January 25th, 21. So I'm kindred and
Tell me you came up here with tonight.
you know all of them.
Tell me you got up here with tonight. Tell them who brought you up here tonight.
You did.
Right up with.
True you knew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Howard?
True you know now.
I grew up in Southfield, Virginia, but my Aunt Frances and my grandmother lived at 200 South Virginia Street. My aunt taught Latin and Spanish in town. She might have taught a few. But when I came to visit my grandmother and my aunt, if the train was coming through, I remember one time we came down to see the last time that the Powhatan was the Pocahontas, the steam locomotive, so the last time the Powhatan came through town, and a beautiful steam locomotive. And we would come down, she would bring me down to the train station, and then we would go to the Tasty Freeze for ice cream cone. And that was great. And I forgot to tell you about my book, Understanding COVID-19. I have those for sale. If you want to understand about the COVID pandemic, this will explain. It makes it easy to understand in layman's terms. You don't have to be a doctor to understand what happened with COVID.
What were your grandmother's and your aunt's names?
My aunt's name was Frances Armstead, and my grandmother was Fannie Mae Armstead. And her husband, James Ashby Armstead, original James Ashby Armstead, was the chairman of the Board of Supervisors from about 1921 to 1941, and he was also the chairman of the Democratic Party in the county from the same time, 21 to 41 or so. And we owned the Armstead Farm. Now it's the Davis Farm out of Route 15 where all the black Angus cattle are.
Next to Lowe's.
That was our family farm from, was it 1765 to 1973. The Davis family bought it.
J.A. Armstead Grocery.
Yeah, it was a green front. I think it was a green front.
I don't know exactly, but I just.
Yeah, James Armstead, the grocery store. He owned the grocery store.
One of the many grocery stores in Farmville.
Anybody else? Yes, sir.
When I was a kid, I lived about a block from here, and the station manager used to run me home all the time. We used to play the whole time, just from here all the way down to the co-op and everything.
And you were getting in the way too, weren't you?
I'm sorry?
You were getting in the way.
Oh, I was always in the way.
Anybody else? Yes, Ed.
Many of us who grew up here remember the electronic gates on Main Street, you know, when the train would come in. My uncle was responsible for that.
You climbed the tower?
No, he was the manager of Leggett, and the tower was there. A lot of people remember the tower. He could see down the line to lower the gates. Well, he was asleep. And the train ran over my uncle in 1949. As a matter of fact, his death certificate actually says that. He was the manager of Leggett at that time.
All right. Good show, Ed. If y'all don't mind, you can leave the chairs for there if you want to have something to sit in.
Do you have any pictures of the house on the pedestal at the Main Street crossing? And Mr. Hill used to sit up in there and lower the gate manually when the trains were coming.
I don't, but I've seen it in the J.C. County.
I did.
Mr. Hill that lived around on South Bridge Street. Used to be the employee of that.
That's, I think, the same one Eddie was talking about.
Yes, it was.
Wait a minute, I got 2 minutes.
All right, folks, I've kind of held this about to what I wanted, an hour. Okay.
Turn the lights.
Somebody turn the lights on? Turn the light roll on. I figure we'll do the drawing there. We got no prizes. And then we're going to sing happy birthday. We have somebody who's going to lead us in that.
Wait a minute, Bob. Wait a minute, we got another.
What is first door prize there, Jerry? First door prize, we have 2 of these we're going to give away. This is the scale model that Richard McClintock has designed, constructed, and then the same. Oh, that's neat. I like that inscription on the bottom. Oh, Richard, that's wonderful. Richard even signed it on the bottom on the occasion of the 120th anniversary of the Farmville train station. He signed it. That's wonderful. Okay.
I think David Kruger will get that.
All right. I'm going to draw because I don't have a dog in this fight. Okay, last 3 numbers. 919. All right. Yeah, we got 1 more to go. Same thing. Good one. 9, 6, 6. That's a 9, a 6, and a 6. Sarah James. Any relation with her? Here we went all out. We're going to go back to Youngsters. A lot of fun. In honor of our train station TV commercial, David here from Pepsi.
Plenty of Pepsis in the back to drink tonight.
Harold Porter.
They're probably cold.
They our code.
9, 0, 9. Joe just want to talk about Now, was there any other business?
We'll sing happy birthday, be led by Mitzi.
Yeah, it's supposed to be by me. We're so late. All right, y'all join in with me. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear train station. Happy birthday to you.
Send it back, Pepsi's, water, Diet Pepsi's, help yourself. Eat back there, if you're gonna bring it out here and eat, whatever, the chairs will be left here so we can all socialize.
Thank you so much for your time, folks.
That was very interesting.
You're the Pepsi generation, the spirit of today. And with every taste of life that's new, well, that Pepsi spirit shines right through. Catch that Pepsi spirit, drink it in, drink it in, drink it in. Catch that Pepsi spirit, drink it in, drink it in, drink it in. It's the smiling, shining feeling, the light of a brand new day. And you're the Pepsi generation, you're the spirit of today. There's a feeling deep inside you, a spirit you just can't hide. And with every taste of life that's new, well, that Pepsi spirit shines right through. Catch that Pepsi spirit, drink it in, drink it in, drink it in. Catch that Pepsi spirit, drink it in, drink it in, drink it in. It's the love